Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Empowering Women Through Fitness. I'm your host, Bridget, Therese, and I want to say thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for jumping on and joining me tonight. I am excited because tonight I am talking to a friend of mine. Her name is Amber Rose, and tonight our topic is gratitude. So a topic that I love. And she has a brand centered around gratitude. So I'm super excited to hear more about how that started and just a little bit of her story where that stemmed from. So as always, as soon as I see Amber on, we'll connect her and we'll always cross our fingers for no technical challenges this week. But if you're here, thanks for watching. I see my friend Erin has joined. Hi, Erin. Thanks for being here. We have Andrew Guerrero just stopped by. Hello, nice to see you. Hope all is well in San Antonio. Comment where you're watching from. It's always fun. Hi, Lisa. I miss you, Lisa. My makeup artist. Hopefully I can see her and her man Jesse soon. They're always doing amazing creative things. If you need a makeup artist in Houston, we'll just shout out Lisa real quick. And there's Amber. So I see Renee Smith, a bunch of you guys jumping on. Stacy's jumping on. Hi, Stacy. So I'm going to go ahead and try and connect Amber. Oh, Lisa, I'm always thinking of you every time I see your content. So I'm going to add Amber, and we're going to pray and hope and pray for quick connections today. Amber, let me know if you got it. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Sandra. So many of you jumping on tonight. Amber, if you got my request, go ahead and accept it. Otherwise, if you didn't see it, you can go ahead and send me a request too. But thanks, ladies, for jumping on and saying hi, or guys too, for those of you watching in Houston. Hopefully you're enjoying weather. There's Amber. Let's try this. And here, we're crossing our fingers for a smooth transition today. So let's see what we got. Thanks for those sweet words, Maggie. I appreciate that. So it says adding. Pretty soon it should say connecting. There it says connecting. There she is.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Long distance hugs.
I know, it's been way too long.
Yes. Amber is in Florida, so she's on the East Coast.
Yes.
For a second.
Yeah.
So how are you today?
I'm good. I'm just trying to get all adjusted with this.
Perfect. No worries. I'll adjust my ponytail while you're adjusting your video. Hopefully you didn't lose her. But she did freeze. So I'm excited. I met Amber probably a few years ago. There she is.
Okay.
That's okay. Technology these days, it's all right. I was just saying I met you a few years ago through the fitness industry. So her husband's heavily involved in the competition world and training. So a natural connection for us.
Yes.
But I want to say thank you for being here. I'm excited to learn more about you and your story. But as always, we got to start with my wonderful icebreaker questions first.
Okay.
So we're gonna jump right to it. First question is, where did you grow up?
I grew up in South Florida. I was born here, and unfortunately, I've never moved anywhere else. So I'm still in South Florida.
Okay, that's my second question. And this, of course, is a meaningful topic, but what is something you were grateful for today?
Oh, well, today I'm grateful that you have me on your show. I need to move though and get situated because I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Okay. I keep getting all these notifications on the top and it's blocking you. Okay, I can see you.
My phone to do not disturb, but sometimes I still get notifications.
I know. I did that. Okay. All right. This is a little better.
Okay. Well, and thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Okay, so jumping back into it, if you could have lunch with somebody, who would it be and why?
Oh. Bono.
I know you love your music.
I know. I love their music and I love his humanitarian work. So I think it would be amazing to pick his brain.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
What is the new skill you would like to learn?
A new skill? Probably sewing. so that I could sew my own clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really neat. I would love to learn that.
Yeah, you could kind of design your own too, huh?
Yes.
That would be awesome. What is one item on your bucket list that you've accomplished?
That I have accomplished. I did a 2-week solo road trip around to Iceland, and that had been on my bucket list forever. So
That's
that was
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
I think I met you right around the time you did that, so I remember following that journey. That was really cool.
Yes.
What is the next item on your bucket list?
Oh, I would love to do a Soul Grateful show internationally. I think that would be awesome.
A show? Like, what do you mean a show? What kind of a show?
Like a festival, a show, an expo, something. But I think it would be awesome to go outside of the U.S.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
sounds cool.
and hike Machu Picchu.
Ooh, there you go.
Yes, those are my goals.
That's awesome. So we have all kinds of stuff to talk about, but I kind of want to let you guide the conversation. Okay. So we can take it back as far as you want and kind of talk about your story that led you into Soul Grateful. Or if you want to talk, I know kind of in your little bio, your description, I said, you're a survivor, and April is actually Survivor Awareness Month or Abuse Month. So whatever you're comfortable with talking about, but give us a little background about you. What is your story? And as we converse, I'll jump in with questions.
Okay, awesome. I grew up here in South Florida. When I was 17, I was a victim of rape. When I turned 18, I did get married at a very young age. So I feel like I jumped into a marriage with somebody that I wouldn't have jumped into a relationship with had I not just experienced such an awful traumatic event. Like, I think my radar was off, and it was just not a good marriage. It was an abusive marriage for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So then after that, I moved about an hour away to kind of like get a fresh start and a clean start, and I lived on my own. And I kind of fell into Soul Grateful. My career was a paralegal for over 10 years. So I was like the burnt out corporate girl who stumbled upon mala beads. So Soul Grateful actually started off as jewelry. And then it kind of organically evolved into apparel from the name. Everybody loved the name so much.
Yeah.
So that's like a very quick snapshot. Yeah, so we can dive in however deep you want.
Let's dive in more because we have a few more minutes than that.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So how much time, so tell us a little bit kind of the background of Soul Grateful, like the name or just kind of how that came. There's a lot that happened in between such a traumatic experience. How did you recover from that? How did you recover from the relationship? What was that healing process like?
Well, the healing process is still going. Like, it's something that I work at every single day. I have an incredible family, and my parents, it took me a long time to be able to tell anybody. So by the time I did share my story, it was probably a good 6 months had passed. My parents put me in counseling immediately, and I stayed in counseling for a very long time. So through counseling and just family and all of that, I would say I didn't really begin to truly heal till after my divorce, though, because I went from like one trauma to the next.
Yeah.
But then when I moved down south, and same thing, I continued my counseling, but I just kind of started develop more of my spiritual side, and meditating and praying and practicing yoga and mala beads and praying with them. So those were part of the things that helped me heal through that. Yes.
Yeah. So you had, so after your divorce, then you worked as kind of went into the corporate world. How do you make friends? Huh?
How I was like, oh God, the corporate world. I don't ever want to go back.
How do you go from like a paralegal working on a law firm? That's a decent job. Like, most girls would be happy to have that and be content. But you're going to go from career job, and now you're selling beads or jewelry. And I don't want to make it sound like...
Yeah, no.
But as an entrepreneur, like, I mean, if anybody has an entrepreneur spirit, they get it. Like, you're going to quit a really good job because at the end of the day, money's not going to buy you the happiness. Like, having that free spirit will. So talk about position, like, were you unhappy? What was your driving factor, and how did you Explain
Oh,
all the stuff you've gone through.
yeah, I was so unhappy. I was working 12 plus hour days at a law firm. I was stuck there. I was the only girl in my department, and I was not married with no children. So
Yeah.
everything kind of fell on me, and I would be stuck there late nights by myself all the time with filings and everything. I stumbled upon mala beads and began making them and selling them in a local yoga studio, and people loved them and they were selling. So I literally would go home and be making mala beads till like 2 a.m.
Wow.
And it was fun, and through that I started to brand, So Grateful, do the logo, the website and all that. And I was working at the law firm, obviously. And when I went to incorporate, one of the attorneys who was helping me incorporate and do all my paperwork and everything was like, sorry, hold on, I have another. Ah, I'm sorry. One of the attorneys I was working with was like, you have a really, really good name. You're onto something. You should trademark this. So I was like, oh, I'm on. Okay. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I trademarked it for jewelry, and everyone's like, oh my God, the name is so beautiful. How'd you come up with it? And I was like, I don't know, in my head. I was just,
Same thing.
I was just bored. I'll never forget. I was sitting at a bar and I was just eating lunch. Oh, I know, right? So spiritual. But no, I mean, I will never forget. I was sitting there eating lunch and I was just kind of like word playing because everyone's like, well, think about what you want your brand to represent and mean. So I was just word playing, and I put the words together and I was like, ooh, I really like this.
Yeah.
So I did it for the jewelry, and then I started to move into apparel because the jewelry is just taking up a lot of time, obviously, and you can't go and make beads till 2 a.m. and then go back to your job that's making, like you said, I was making tons of money at my corporate job, and this was for fun. So I started to trademark it for apparel, and 2 weeks before my trademark was fully cleared, because it takes a while because there's a process if anyone wants to oppose it. A large company opposed it and started making Soul Grateful shirts. And for 2 years, I halted everything and was in litigation because I didn't want to keep creating designs because they were starting to steal them. And I didn't know if I could keep going forward with my business. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to dump any more money into this till it was all done. So once again, thank God for my law firm. They represented me and helped me for free, because I would have never been able to afford that, to litigate for 2 years. Big companies do that to little companies, because if it was just me paying, I would have went under. They would have continued making their Soul Grateful shirts. So I won, yay. And then I just relaunched at the end of 2017. So it's new, but it's not, if that makes sense. So yeah.
I feel like your logo, when I went and started looking up everything, was I'm like, oh, this is fresh. I don't remember seeing that before back in the beginning. That's awesome. So how did you then transition from, and this is a question a lot of entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs ask, is how do you go from quitting the day job to going full-time in your dream?
Being crazy.
Right? I mean, either you get laid off or fired. I mean, those are your choices.
You're crazy. Yeah. I was at the point, though, where it was affecting my health. It was I was 20 pounds heavier than I am now. I was sick all the time. I was never fat, but I was just eating. You're sitting at your desk and you don't move and you just eat. It was awful. I had no quality of life. And my mom used to say to me all the time, she's like, you're way too young to be working as hard for something that's not yours. It's different now. If I'm working crazy hours, it's for myself, but for something else. And it just got to the point where I would literally have anxiety attacks before I was going to work. It was bad because it was just too much. The stress was too much and I wasn't happy. So I just quit. And I mean, obviously I had a plan and I had money set aside and I had an exit strategy, but but then every day, every other day, you're like, did I make the right choice? Then the next day you're like, yeah, I made the right choice. And then the next day you're like, oh my God, I missed my paychecks. And then you're like, so
girl, I can relate to that. So this is the phase that you never hear entrepreneurs talk about. You always hear like, oh, I'm at 6 figures and I'm doing this and this is how I did it. But nobody talks about this very beginning phase. And for those of you watching, I mean, and for you, I got laid off in October. So I had my side hustle going for 3 years and I felt it coming, but I didn't even know the rug was pulled out of me. My security blanket was out and I'm like, you know what, screw corporate America. I'm going to do this thing. But there are some days where like, holy shit, I should just get a job at Starbucks right about now because like, what am I even doing?
I know, yeah. I know. Well, I mean, I'm totally honest. Last year I waited tables for a little bit because I need to supplement. And now I do have a part-time thing in that late afternoons that I do because I need stuff, you know? So but yeah, you're right. People don't talk about it. And it's like, I just quit and then I'm successful, but really they're working 3 jobs and not, telling the truth.
Talking about that. And I appreciate you being transparent like that because sometimes you do have to, but wouldn't you rather just work a part-time job that you can easily walk away from? Like if you work at a Target or a Starbucks or something like that, there's no shame in the game. Like you get to walk away and not bring any of that home with you.
Yeah.
You get to literally walk away and then still be energized to work on your dreams.
That was the other thing. At the law firm, I was literally like, I would say to my husband, who's a fitness trainer, and you will understand this relating to fitness, I felt like I just used my brain muscle all day. So then when I would come home, I was fried, like I was like, I want something that I don't have to think so that I can come home and then think and, But now with telecommuting, there's so many jobs and part-time jobs and freelance jobs that it's very easy,
Resourceful has been one of the things that I hear a lot of people talk about. There's like 2 things, resourcefulness and collaboration. And instead of finding somebody and competing with them, like how can you work with them and
absolutely
do things with them to build each other's business faster versus competing or versus trying to be better than somebody else. Like find out what your competition is doing or find out what somebody's doing better than you and learn from them. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And I think the younger entrepreneurs are more open to collaborating versus just like, no, I'm going to keep this all to myself. And
well, because you know what, I've heard somebody say this, so I'm paraphrasing, but it's like we can both do the same thing, but I'm never going to be able to deliver it the way you do because you're you, and you won't be able to deliver the way I do because I'm me. So it's like, if somebody else has a clothing brand, I mean, I'm so happy for them. That's awesome. I love to learn, like, what did you do? Why didn't you do it? There is no competition to me.
Yeah. And that's another thing people need to remember, too, if they're thinking about starting their own brand or being some sort of in business at some level. Like, everything's been done before, so that's already, everything's been done before. You're not going to be unique. You're not some, like, magical person that just appeared. However, you do have these ideas and dreams put into your heart for a reason, so follow them. But like Amber just said, nobody, for one, even if we did give the message relatively the same way, people are going to understand it and take it differently depending on who they relate to. So if I was selling clothing, I'm going to probably have a different audience than you have. It's just simple as that, but that doesn't mean you're going to be any less than I would be.
You forgot to wear your feather earring tonight?
I don't have, my style is a little bit different, and that's okay. I would love to learn about the beads and like different spiritual things. Because I follow you on Instagram. Everybody should follow her on Instagram. All the links are up there. And you do have things that I would love to learn about, or just like the spiritual side, or just that aspect of you. I think is so cool. And you always seem happy, and I'm sure you have your bad days, but like, you have a really, really good energy, and I think so much of that comes from you being able to do what you want.
Thank you.
We have Maggie commenting, and she's a John Maxwell coach. She was like my guest a couple weeks ago, and so she says, fear and limiting beliefs keep us in that competitive mindset. So really,
I agree.
Mindset, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I love it when other women are nice and it's I'm like, oh my God, a nice lady. Yes, I wish women would be like that more, especially in business.
Yes, especially in business. And I mean, do you have any mentors or anybody that you work with that kind of help you guide you?
Oh my God, yes. Actually, I should tag her in this when we're done so she can watch. But
Yeah.
there's her name is Jessica. She has a clothing company, Binka, and her stuff is awesome. Her mission is to help rescue dogs, so she donates part of hers to shelters around the U.S. wherever her wholesale accounts are. But she lives locally here in Jupiter, and she literally held my hand and helped me through learning how to approach boutiques and your line sheet and stuff, like all this stuff that she really didn't have to, because honestly, at the end of the day, I'm going to be approaching the same accounts that she is. But she brought me with her to meet people, like,
that's awesome.
over and yes, absolutely. I've learned a lot from her. So I guess she's my mentor.
That is cool, and that's amazing.
Yes.
Speaking of causes, and you just mentioned it, but reminded me one of the things I wanted to ask you about. So your Soul Grateful has a mission.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Okay. It has several missions.
Okay.
One of my missions is to unite individuals, regardless of race, gender, religion, sexuality, through gratitude. And then for every item sold, I donate 10% of the proceeds to help stop human trafficking.
So where does the human trafficking
come into play?
Yes.
Yeah. If you read statistics, Florida is the third largest state in the U.S., so that hits close to home, obviously. It's projected after the Super Bowl here next year in Miami in 2020 that we will become number one, because with every huge sporting event is major busts. Yeah. But statistically, if you were to look, I forget the percentage and I should know it, but main percentage of children trafficked have already been sexually assaulted when they were teens. So for me, that hit home close to home too, because if I didn't have the family I had who cared about me, or what if I could have been another statistic and it could have been something that just kept snowballing if I didn't have the support I did. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And I mean, there's just not enough awareness about that in human slavery.
No, I agree. It's something people don't want to talk about.
It is. It's uncomfortable.
It is an uncomfortable topic. I notice it a lot when I'm at festivals or trade shows, and people I'll say, just like when I'm ringing them up, I say to them, just so you know, a portion of the proceeds goes to help stop human trafficking. So like, yay, like you should be proud of where your purchase is going. And I've had people walk out and not want to buy it. Like, it offended them. And I was like, it was very odd. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just an awkward conversation or I don't know, but.
Shoot, get their contact information first.
I know. I was like, my husband was like, maybe we should stop telling people, because we're at like a yoga festival and people were starting to get like they were walking out. And I said, well, then you know why? I said, then I don't want them to wear my stuff, because that is the mission behind the brand, like just because I always say, just because something is uncomfortable to hear doesn't mean it doesn't need to be talked about.
Yeah. And I thank God things are starting to be more talked about, because I saw a thing last week and I posted it on my Facebook story where it was like, and being that it's Survivor Month, and it shouldn't be just a freaking month, it should be always, but it was a picture of a lady holding up a sign and it said, everybody knows somebody who's been raped. But why don't all these guys, but how come no guys know a rapist? And it's just like
that's
I just
powerful.
stopped in my tracks and I'm like, holy beat.
Yeah.
How in the world is that the case? I don't know anybody who's a rapist. The ones that you hear about are in prison and they're on the ID channel and they're just like these big monsters. But like, if everybody knows somebody who's had this experience, and I know way more than just one person who's had this awful experience, like,
I know, because the statistics are 1 in 4. So think about it. Every time I'm at an event and I look around, I'm like, there's 30 of us that would never even, people don't even like to admit it. Like, it's taboo to talk about. And for the longest time, I was so embarrassed to talk about it. And I was like, why am I embarrassed to say that I am not a victim, a survivor of rape? Like, it's nothing to be ashamed about, but it is, people do have that shame because we're not talking about it. So it's like, oh my God, we all want to talk about it.
Yeah. I had another guest that was on the show, Nina Garcia, and I was able to talk to her about it, but still, it's like it's starting to become okay to speak out against it. Like it's starting to, and like there's more programs and there's more people being aware of it. But it is, I mean, it's a tough topic and it does make people uncomfortable, whether it's because something happened to them or they know something or they did it, you know. But maybe the more we can start talking about it and sharing these experiences and, you know, celebrating the survivors and I mean, how much do you think that plays into who you are and what you're doing today? That first experience.
Being a survivor, a lot, because honestly, it was, I put on my do not disturb, and this thing is
Everybody wants to reach you right
I
now.
I know, I'm like, nobody texts me all day. Now I'm getting all these texts. Anyways, your question was how has it impacted me today?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did, because honestly, I was a virgin when it happened, so it was,
Super.
yeah, but I think a lot of things have helped. I think the fact of me just being able to talk about it, has healed me, because for so long I was mortified of it. My mom would be like, one day, and if my mom was watching, which she said she is, she's so right. She said, one day your story is going to help others, because everybody just wants to feel related to. Everybody just wants to be accepted. So like when you're going through it, and if you think, oh my God, no other person that I could think of who went on to be successful. I had a full scholarship to college. I got great grades. I had a great job at the biggest law firm in Florida. Like, not to brag, but just to say, like, you could still go on to do great things. But I think in your head, you think you're so broken in that moment and so unwanted or so unlovable that I feel like if I had seen someone who was speaking out and saying, it's okay, I've been there, but look at where I am now, I think I would have gotten to where I am now sooner, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. That's super huge. And one of the things I like to talk about with people is really telling them, like, and I think maybe that's part of my mission and even having my show is like giving people a platform to share their stories. Because if you never forgive or learn how to, and I don't want to say accept, but learn how to like your story doesn't define you, it doesn't limit you, but what you do with it and how you share your story with other people. Last week I had a lady that lost 3 babies. I've lost a baby, and just to know that I wasn't alone and she's not alone and she has a place to share her story. She can help somebody else. I can help somebody else. You can help somebody else. And that's like I have all these different topics because it's just like if you have a place to share your story, it's not wasted. Like there's it becomes like, and I don't want to say this lightly because I don't want to give any discredit to what you've been through, but it gives you purpose. Like it's.
I totally agree. I totally agree. That's not watering it down or anything. I think that's being honest. Like life, every single person goes through something in life.
Yeah.
So, but your hurt isn't greater than mine. A hurt is a hurt, but I think people think like, I don't know. I think people compartmentalize their hurt when in reality, we should just all be able to say, I love you. I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and back,
Yeah. It's not a comparison. It's not like, well, she's hurt. She went through this. Like, and that's just the thing. Like, everybody's going to go through something. If you're on this earth, and all of us are, like, you're going to have some sort of struggles or challenges or things that are not going to go your way. Like, I can't think of anything except maybe Kate Middleton and the princesses. Like, they have probably no problems, but
I know. Yeah.
Like the rest of us, we're going to have challenges. And it's really, how are we going to come through on the other side? And I can promise you, it's not by sitting on your ass and not doing anything. It takes a lot of self-work, and you have to want to, I guess, change your narrative and be like, I'm no longer a victim of this. I'm a survivor. And the biggest thing that helped me through my challenges was knowing somebody else went through it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think too, that we do what we need. So like for me, I work hard to be grateful, like honestly, and I'm always honest about that. Like I don't wake up and say, I've got it made today. Like I'm like, okay, what am I grateful for? Because for a very long time, I remember I'd blow out my candles every birthday and wish the same thing, wish to be happy. How sad is that? Like,
Wow.
you know, and so now it's like I make myself count what I'm grateful for because that brings me happiness.
Yeah.
That brings me healing. But
That's,
I wasn't always like, oh, I'm Mrs. Grateful. Let me
well,
let me be.
I kind of wanted to talk to you, and because I was about gratefulness and gratitude and things like that, because I assumed you had like a whole thing around it, being that was the name of your company. But and one of the things, and I think I talked about this on my show before, is like I have a gratitude journal, and when I was
Mm-hmm.
going through the most challenging times, like last year, 2 years, um, I literally had to start writing down anything I could think of that was good, because all I could think about was all the negative things going on in my life, and it really does
Mm-hmm.
change your perspective. So, what are some gratitude practices you have, and then we'll kind of wrap it up after this.
Yeah. I love gratitude journaling. Absolutely. Um, I like to do it before bed for me because I like to reflect back on my day. I know some people wake up and journal, but for me, I do it at the end.
Yeah.
I also have, I think everybody should do this, write a gratitude letter. Like once in a while, like even once a month, pick someone different and handwrite a letter of something. It could be your coworker, it could be your cousin, it could be your mom, but just something like, thank you for A, B, and C. But physically handwriting
Yeah.
something is really beautiful.
For those of you that don't know what that is, no, I'm just kidding. Paper and pen.
I know, right? Nobody does that anymore. Nobody does that anymore. Gratitude practices. I during my meditations a lot for me. That's probably my main one. Yeah.
Meditation and writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
like my sweet spot.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody doesn't know where to start, they do make books. Like the book I
Mhm.
use, it's like it actually has the morning practice and the night practice. So
Mhm.
I'm starting my day with gratitude and ending my day with gratitude.
I also have something too. I want to start it on my birthday this year.
Yeah.
It's a mason jar, and I got a whole bunch of different colored, like just piece
Okay.
of paper, basically. And each week, write one thing that happened that week. That like, wow, like I'm so grateful this happened this week.
Mm.
And then on your birthday next year, you open it and you read it to revisit how wonderful your last year was on this earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Very cool.
Yeah. I saw this. I don't remember where I saw it. Somewhere when it was kind of saying stop waiting for every. Or maybe it was an Instagram post, but somebody was saying how she used to look forward to the big events, like the big launch or the big this or the big that,
Mm-hmm.
and there would be huge events in her life, and she'd get such a high from them. But then, like that became her standard, and then so that was something major wasn't going on that she was grateful for or happy for. Like it
Mm-hmm.
made all those spaces in between seem so mundane. So
Mm-hmm.
like you got to stop waiting to be happy, stop waiting for Friday, stop waiting for somebody to hand you an opportunity, but like find
Mm-hmm.
in every single day.
I say that too. I say there's never going to be another Thursday, April, what's today?
Yeah.
19th? Is it the 19th?
18th. April
18th? There's never going to be 2019. That's it. Like you only got one of these. So, yeah. But it's hard to remember that, but I really try, you
Yeah.
know? Cuz
Yeah.
we all can get stuck in the mundane of waiting for the weekend.
Okay, Amber. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me tonight and all
Oh,
of our
thank
viewers.
you.
What is your last, what would you like to close with? What would you like to tell the ladies watching? And also, before I handed it back to her, check out her clothes, you guys. They are so cute. She has a lot of cute tanks and hats. She's wearing them right now. And to know that it is going for a good cause is really awesome too. And millennials love something that goes to a good cause, so you're on the right track. But what would you say to a woman who wants to be more empowered?
To take all of your broken pieces together and make the most beautiful masterpiece.
I love that. Mosaic art with your
Yes.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Amber, thank you so much. I feel like I want to just keep talking, but for the sake of time and YouTube video length and all that good stuff, we're going to cut it off at a reasonable time. But I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you for taking time.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And you can go ahead and hit the little X in your corner, and I'll wrap it up on my end. All right. Well, that was awesome, you guys. I love when I can have a great conversation with somebody and just feel uplifted and just more positive. So thank you so much for watching. Amber's amazing. I love her energy, love her spirit. Thanks for watching, Diana, Lori, everybody who jumped on. I appreciate you guys being here and watching this. Again, if you like this video or know somebody who will, feel free to tag them or share this with them. Thanks for all the guests that watched that were friends of Amber's. I appreciate you watching the show, and thanks you so much again to Amber for being here. We'll be back next week. We are talking to Julie Parker, and she is a face reader. So you're not going to want to miss this. It's so interesting. I'm not sure if she'll be able to do that live, but it's going to be a really cool episode, and I hope you'll join us again next week. Same time, same place. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.